Storytime, how I ended up in Iraq and loved it. This story begins in Istanbul, Turkey, where I stayed at this hostel and befriended an Iraqi gentleman. This gentleman was really kind, very friendly, and of course we had that conversation all travelers have of where you're going, where you've been, and I told him I'm headed towards the Middle East and I'm going to be going to Oman and other parts like Dubai. He then expressed and said, go to Iraq. And at this point, I had already been YouTubing videos about Iraq. I had already been researching Iraq, and I was very curious and interested in making a trip out to Iraq. And immediately it caught my attention. He told me that Iraq was going to be safe, that it's full of culture, full of history, and that Iraqis would be very welcoming. And this Iraqi gentleman, he was very friendly. He was very open about Iraq, and he told me some history about Iraq, and it was really nice conversation. And he did not strike me as somebody that would lead me astray. He didn't strike me as somebody that would tell me to go somewhere unsafe. I'm sure that if it was actually unsafe, he wouldn't have recommended me going to Iraq. And immediately I was sold. I, at that point, was already 100% convinced that I would be going to Iraq. It was just a matter of when. The scariest thing about planning a trip to Iraq and going to Iraq is really the people you tell before you go to Iraq. I told people I was going to Iraq and they immediately said, you're going to be harmed, you're going to be, attacked, you're going to be kidnapped, you're going to get killed. Oh, you're coming from the United States and you're speaking English. You're going to be, targeted for crime. Having everybody tell you all those things will get you to think twice about going anywhere, really, if you get told that in any part of the world. However, after I befriended this gentleman, he really assured me that it was going to be safe. And at that point, I really just decided to go all in on Iraq. And I said, you know what, let me plan a small 3-day trip to Iraq. And if I like it, I could always come back. If I don't like it, then I experienced it for myself, and then I can make my own judgment about Iraq. Fast forward, I do my trip to Oman, and then there's about 3 days before I can go, where I have to go to Dubai, and I actually end up going to Iraq. Now, it comes a time to get on the plane and actually make it out to Iraq. I landed in Iraq, and of course, Iraq is one of those countries that it does culture shock you immediately. I didn't speak Arabic, and I made the mistake of not taking any money with me whatsoever. I think it was 20 to 30 riyal, Omani riyal, in my pocket, and that's it. My cards weren't working, my phone wasn't working. I was at a loss. I couldn't speak Arabic. I did not know what I was gonna do. And I met this taxi driver who was very kind, very willing to take me to my hotel. I told him this is my hotel, and I said, hey, I only have riyal. None of the exchanges here will exchange into Iraqi cash, and I don't have any American money on me. This is all I have. He, after I explained him my situation, I couldn't make calls, my cards won't work. He accepted my offer and my riyal and took me to my hotel. Driving to the hotel in Baghdad was also fun. It was great. You definitely get hit with the different sights, the different seeings of Iraq. And I didn't feel that I was going to have a bad time here. I genuinely opened myself up to a new experience and a new way of viewing the world that I really enjoyed and appreciated. And this is what I did once I got to my hotel. I went up, I grabbed my bag, I put my bags away, I made a phone call to my parents, and it was gravy, it was fine. And I immediately decided to go downstairs and explore the city. I recommend you do this in most areas that you travel to. Before I headed out, I asked the ladies working the hotel, I asked them, hey, is there any parts I should avoid? Is there anywhere I shouldn't go or avoid? Can I walk everywhere? And they told me that Baghdad was very safe and you can walk everywhere. I took that as I can go everywhere. I walked through Baghdad at 12, at midnight, sometimes at 2, 3 in the morning, and Baghdad felt safer than some of the parts in LA. And of course, people noticed I was a foreigner. I kind of stuck out like a sore thumb with my clothes, with everything, right? They don't get many tourism, so, and I was alone. I didn't have a tour guide. I didn't have anybody to tell me where to go. It was just what I've really Googled. Or a quick story about how I solved my problems. I called back home and I said to my family, I'm like, hey, I'm in Iraq. I didn't take out money before I came here, but I'm gonna need some money now. Could you please send me money through my passport so I can go to the Iraqi bank and get some through my passport? The funny thing is, even my family was skeptical about sending me money. I get a call back 10 to 20 minutes later, and it's my mom on the phone. She asked me, what's the name of your dog? And I'm like, what? You know, his name is Ringo. What color is your couch back home? And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, I don't, like, what? And she's like, well, we just want to make sure you're not, you know, that it's you. My family and my sister, of course, they all want to make sure that it's actually me calling from Iraq for money. And I'm like, guys, I have this 3-day trip in Iraq with no money. I don't know what to do. Only my hotel is paid for. I have no way of getting food. I have no way of, you know, getting anything. Everything is cash. So oh man, that was a really funny time. That was kind of made it just that cherry on top for me. And they were able to send me money through my passport, and that's how I solved the money issue. If you do land in Iraq without money, you can get money sent through your passport, and you go to the main Iraqi bank and get it. I highly recommend you don't do this because it took me 3 hours. I was 3 hours in the bank and I couldn't, and they were very skeptical about giving me the money. I'm like, hey, I'm here for 3 days. I need this money. You guys like my Giselles? Just got him. And here's why I loved it. Going to Iraq is one of those places that really opens up your mind to a different perspective. And also, you really get to see that the media that we consume, the people's opinions of who have never traveled to a country, can be so absolutely wrong. And that's one of those moments that I had an eye-opening moment where, what else am I wrong about? What other media have I consumed? What other story have I been fed where I now unconsciously or indirectly judge something that I just have no idea about? How often are we told lies or some conspiracy folk story or whatever you want to say it, that we are just absolutely wrong about, and we don't take the time to learn for ourselves? What was I doing? And that is one of those things where it opened my mind to just so many different perspectives, and it was humbling, it was eye-opening, it was something where I had this wrong opinion, and it wasn't really even mine. It was just, I thought it might have been dangerous because of all of the people that were telling me, you're gonna be attacked, you're gonna be kidnapped, you're gonna be this. And you get there and it's the complete opposite. Like, Iraqis are so welcoming, they're amazing. And they even wanted my opinion on certain foods, on like a pizza that I ordered. You know, how often are we wrong about a society, a group of people, and we listen to these different things about? How often does that happen where we're just absolutely wrong? And I think it's been a gift to be corrected. And this is what I leave you with. I challenge you to go to a place this year that will challenge your perspective, that will challenge your beliefs, or anything that you are strongly believe about that maybe somebody has told you that you're wrong about it. I challenge you, especially if you're coming from the United States, especially if you've been in the United States all your life, I challenge you to travel somewhere. It doesn't have to be Iraq, but I challenge you to travel somewhere where you think you might actually have a great experience, and you might just learn